One, two, three, recording, guys. How are you? See you again. Hope you're fine. Hope the confinement, the lockdown, or however we may call it, it's doable for you guys. Everything fine here in Spain. I don't know if you've seen the numbers. They're doing better. We're doing better in terms of infections, in terms of people unfortunately deceased. But anyway, we just extended again. I mean, let me think about it. We just extended from April 26th to Saturday, May the 9th. But still, they're still figuring out how it's going to be the next stages very progressively. In Spain was a little, I don't know why, because we didn't have the worst numbers, but in terms of confinement or lockdown, I mean, the measures were the toughest. I mean, no sports, no jogging, no going for a walk, no kids, poor kids. Anyway, I have to confess, I have gotten my kids out and we went for a walk. I got the supermarket trolley, and in case some police stop me, I was thinking about telling them, my wife is out, whatever. She's a doctor. Since she's in the hospital, and I had to do some groceries. This is one of the exceptions the police was doing to kids being out with their parents and buying or shopping, etc. But very, very harsh here in Spain. Fortunately, the numbers are doing better. Huh? Everything fine? Sure? Me too, thank you. So, let's finish this up. I will send you another video next week just to say goodbye, and I don't know, maybe to gossip and to talk about anything. It's been a very weird semester. Of course, it is for everyone, and I hope you're good. And sometimes I think, guys, it's been kind of unfair because you were supposed to be here for roughly 4 months and a half, etc. And well, situation, they have stole that from you, they have deprived you of this experience. But you're young, you're still 20 something, you'll make this up. No, please come again. I know times will be slow in terms of when are they going to have flights and people moving around as we used to do, but I think we will sooner than later, I hope. So think about that, guys. Think about being international and being global, even though there will be some new circumstances. But think about that. Another semester maybe, or probably is difficult for you. Maybe some time off here in Europe, or traveling around the world, or maybe your masters here. But this is one of my little advices: be global, because the world is global. Actually, people was criticizing so much globalization, this disease, blah blah blah, and people traveling. Yes, of course, but I mean, any disease in previous time was even worse than now. It is true that that was fastest because now people fly and travel so much. The flu, the virus, whatever, they spread out much rapidly. But at the same time, if you think about the Spanish influenza, by the way, I don't know what they call it, a Spanish influenza. It was originated in Kansas, but anyway, it killed millions of people, even though it was slower because people didn't travel that much. But of course, they didn't have the technology. And today, what we have, thanks to globalization, actually, is that companies can buy very fast from other countries. The shipment, the transportation, the business, the contacts, the payments, everything is so much faster than when many countries all over the world needed to buy basically the famous respirators or ventilators or the mask, whatever. They bought it, very, very easily. And of course, transportation was very fast because of globalization. Well, you know how much fan I am of globalization. But let's talk business. First of all, you're sending me today the final project, the Shark Tank. I've seen some of you sending it. You have until midnight your time. Anyway, we are flexible. This is kind of the guidelines from the school. We are flexible, but send me as soon as possible by email, to carlos@ribadula.org. You don't need to do Moodle. You don't need to do the uploaded Moodle for that. Send it to me. I will also send you the Excel. Sorry, I will send you. Actually, I will upload it at some place, and I will send you the link of all the presentations of your class, and I will send you the Excel sheet with your investments. Meaning, remember, you have to do the investor's role, and you will have to assign some money. I will give you the guidelines, some money to the projects you just read and you just analyzed. For that, I was in the email, it's explained, but for that, you also have until the end of the week, midnight your time, by Friday. This week, huh? And final exam. I've decided to do something nice, something easy, as is explained in the mail and as it is in Moodle. So it will be 4 questions. The first one is about how this crisis is going to affect business, corporations, startups. What's going to be the impact in the short term, you may say 1 year, 2 years, huh? Or in general, whatever you want to give a longer range of time, that's fine. So first question, how this is going to affect companies, startups, and businesses. The other 3 questions are about anything, or not anything, but I mean the most interesting things that you have learned. And don't tell me you haven't learned anything. Whatever, if you haven't learned anything, I mean, after all the readings and the homework, etc. So anyway, you have to tell me, explain, develop, analyze, and describe the 3 most important lessons. Even if they are not the best one, whatever, the most interesting for you, the most appealing for you. I mean, again, you should have done some readings and some paperwork, plus the discussions, etc., and the materials I have sent you. So describe 3 things. So you have the 1 plus 3. The 1 is about the virus and the economic business crisis, and the other 3 ones are about the lessons learned here. It is easy. Well, maybe. I mean, let's be honest. It is easy to get a C plus, maybe B minus. But if you want to do A plus, and so forth, really you need to put some time. You need to convince me, guys. Well, I've learned this, I like this because of this, and that. I mean, to be honest, and I'm talking as a professor, but also as when I have to, at work, and I have to read any analysis or any descriptions or any paper from anyone, really, guys, it is very easy to spot who's done just, I just want to pass this with no really reflection, with no analysis. It's so easy to spot that and to distinguish between this type of work and a very more elaborate, when people put time, when people put reflection on things, when they really, actually you can research for that. I mean, you don't need to just tell me whatever you want me in terms of the papers or the lessons or the readings you've done. You can also research on that topic, do an extra research, because really, guys, it's very easy to spot good work, super easy. So again, as I mentioned many times, start practicing now. Why now just getting a normal paper or a normal work just to pass or get a C plus or B minus, etc., etc.? Do you think you will do better when you are out there and instead of your professor, I'm a boss? Well, start practicing now. Start practicing thinking, analyzing, researching, and developing ideas. This is the right time. I cannot fire you, but a boss may, so let's just start practice. I don't understand. Not all of you, of course, Please allow me this. I don't understand why some students just do the papers and do the homework just to pass by and, without thinking that this is just an experiment. This is just practicing for the future. Come on, guys, do this for me, okay? So this is the final exam. It's in the email, and this one you will have to upload it in Moodle because it's easy to collect them all, etc. I'm just going to open in Moodle the final exam section, so you have to upload it there. What else? I've been also doing some analysis myself, guys. Yes, I've been analyzing, and it kind of something surprised me of how the business world is doing. For instance, Google, Alphabet, how do you think is doing for the last month of kind of global confinement? At least in big countries for them, like America, United States, Canada, Europe, etc. How is it doing? Well, they're doing pretty fine. They're growing up in just 1 month. This is the time frame I'm doing right now, just to see how the confinement is changing, how the economy is affecting them. Of course, as you can imagine, Google and all the services and products they have, they're doing fine according to the stock market, which is the reference, of course, because it's how consumers, not consumers, but what I mean, investors, companies, stockbrokers, the markets as a whole. The markets, how do you think they're doing? Well, they're up to 28%. Not surprisingly, because everybody's using internet is crazy. Huh? Uh, Everything is, I'm guessing, just here discussing with you guys, I'm guessing everything is just working very well. YouTube is working very well for them. Of course, the search engine, Google, is working very well for them. Any other products they have, precisely. Hangouts, we talk so much about video conferencing and working at remotely and at home, and people like I do, with professionally, and now with you because this is YouTube. But when I have meetings with people, everybody's using, well, Zoom, Hangouts, etc., etc. So Hangouts is doing very well, and also Google Meet, which is a very similar, but with more features for meetings, etc. Amazon, how do you think they're doing? Well, for the last month, they have increased 35%. Sure, they're still the boss. They are the boss. I think here there's some room for competitors. I think it is true that they are almost monopolistic, but I think there might be room for some investors. Although, again, they're so good. Come on. So 35% and coming, because I mean, one of the new trends we will see in the future, it is like that, more online commerce. There will be more room for others, but of course also if the cake is getting bigger, of course their share will also get bigger, or at least the volume of their operations will get bigger, because they are the king. Definitely they are the best. But online platforms in general are going to be, they're going to experience a very huge increase. For instance, Zoom, surprisingly, Zoom is increasing for the last month, but not that much. Not that much. Well, I mean, 15%, not bad. But if you see the market share, the stock market, they have some very high peaks right after confinement. Like everybody went crazy. Zoom is the new app, and then they start declining a little bit. Went up a little bit by the end of March, and now they are declining a lot from the end of March till today. Not a lot, but they're declining, although the general month that I selected is still up 15%. If we go for just 2 weeks, they will go down. Why? Because they have a lot of competitors. They're still, doing okay. But here is a market where nobody has, as opposed to Amazon, the market of video conferencing, etc. Nobody has a clear dominant position. So it's going to be very, very fragmented, with 5-6 guys having each one 15-20% approx of the market share. Netflix, good news for them. They just reached the peak. They kill it. They reached the peak with $422 per share some days ago, 1 week ago. Their increase is in the 30%. They're still not suffering a lot. The arrival of new competitors like Disney Plus, that they arrived during the last weeks in Spain 1 month ago, in America, right, 2 months ago, something like that. This is a market that will have a bigger base. The volume of the market is expanding rapidly, and Netflix is kind of well situated, well positioned, and I think they will be fine. As I mentioned, they just reached the peak, and in 1 month only, 30% increase. Not bad. Imagine you invest $100,000, now you would have $130,000 just in 1 month. I mean, not bad. And of course, who's suffering a lot is some of the startups, the companies that are just starting. They need seed money. They are at the very early stage. I think investors going to be reluctant. I think investors are going to focus on some startups, of course, but more in the mature stage. The startups that are already in the market, they have a viable product, they have tested, they have some customers, maybe some sales, maybe it's not spectacular, of course not profits, but the traction, the numbers, the metrics, or users, etc. is fine. I think investors will still invest in this type of startups, but starting a new project right now is going to be tougher, at least tougher than 3 months ago. This is the bad news, mm, the bad news of how the economy is going now, and also in general, think about companies changing. Maybe this is also a topic for question one of the, if you want to include it, of the final exam, about how the virus is affecting the economy, companies, startups, everything. How do you see the future, or any idea or comment on this? But definitely, we talk a lot about that, working remotely, less expenses, more efficiencies, maybe. I don't know in the US, but at least in Europe, most probably, well, that depends. It's still kind of early because we don't know how long and we don't know the reaction of the aftermath. But it is reasonable to think that 10%, 15, 20% of the companies in general, of course, different sectors have different effects, but in general, out of the 2 million companies we have in Spain, 2.2, I think, 10%, 15% will disappear. They will just foreclose. They will just shut it down because they will be broke and they will have debt and they will have no cash flow to keep running the company. So 20% is a lot. Now let's see. What is the upside of this? Well, more market share for the remaining ones. That's a sad fact, but it's gonna happen. I mean, you've been here in Spain. I mean, you've seen how many bars do we have, bars and restaurants and cafeterias. Well, imagine 20. They're hit. They're gonna be very badly affected. It's the worst sector in Spain. Think about tourism in general. It's 12% of the Spanish economy, Spanish GDP. And bars, restaurants are part of tourism in a way. They are closely related, of course. It's not like a hotel. It's not like a airline, but it's very related. Most of bars and restaurants make a lot of money thanks to tourists. So anyway, think about all the bars we have in Barcelona. Well, of course, if 20% of them disappear, the remaining 80% will have more business. Well, you may say, yeah, but less customers because people, less patrons because people will be more reluctant to public spaces and to be in crowded places. That's another thing, maybe. But what I think here, just a reflection. Share with me your thoughts. What I also see here is the company who are kind of the survivors company, the company that are, this term that now everybody uses so much, which is resilient. The resilient companies, well, maybe they will be stronger again. A strange market, a strange atmosphere still, but less competition. And that means that the companies, ideally, hopefully, the remaining companies, the survivors, these 80% of companies, they will have better profits maybe, and probably they will be able to invest more in innovation. This is a thing that some expert, not criticized, but some expert always thought that Spain had too many small companies. Too many small companies, which means that small companies, they basically survive. They make very little profit. Basically, they pay the salaries and the salary of the owner of the company, who is an employee normally of that company, and that's it. They don't have any profit or any extra to spend on innovating and research, blah, 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 blah. Maybe this is one of the bad good news. The fewer companies in the market will have a little bit better profits, and they will use these resources to innovate and be better and stronger and more efficient. Something we'll have to see in the next 2-3 years. Of course, the cost of this is the unemployment, meaning if 20% of companies disappear, then X number of employees will need to reinvent themselves and get new jobs and maybe start new companies or whatever. So it's still, this is going to be tough for everyone for a while. Of course, at the end of the day, in X years, everything will be fine. But how many years it's X? This is the problem to recover. Well, guys, any question, any comment? You have read the email, please, with instructions. Also check on Moodle, because I'm gonna create the section for uploading the final exam. Send me please your business, the Shark Tank presentation. So I will forward to everyone, so everyone can analyze them and everyone can invest on each other's, not on yours, huh? Never in yours. Huh? You have to invest in your classmates. Huh? And um, and that's it, guys. I hope you're doing fine, and I hope to be in contact with you guys. Huh? Now I'm gonna turn this off. Come on, see you guys.